Welcome to week number 10. By now, you should have your book back from the line edit or the copy editor, and the inside of your book is nearly finished. It's time to make a decision about your publishing options, insert any service lines that you might want into your book, and make this thing come to life. Let's start with publishing. There's 4 options. The first one is self-printing, sometimes referred to as vanity publishing. You go to a local printer and you print at least 500 copies. There's usually a minimum run. It's the least expensive cost per book option out there, but it's usually the most expensive upfront expense, as you have to print at least 500, usually 1,000 to make it financially intelligent. This is the best option if you plan to give your book away as a marketing tool. This is what we do with the KPI book. We couldn't afford to give things away if we used on-demand printing or went through a publisher. So we buy 1,000 copies at a time, and it works really well. The second option is self-publishing, also known as print on demand. CreateSpace by Amazon is a perfect example, but we do not recommend that route. The quality just doesn't seem to be as good as the option that we'll recommend here in a moment, although they are getting better. But there's only one company that we still recommend, and that's Ingram Spark. They are a self-publishing arm of Ingram Press, the 800-pound gorilla in the book printing world. I would guess maybe 80% of all books printed are done through Ingram. Maybe even more, I don't know. If you've ever bought a book at a bookstore, it was probably printed by Ingram. They opened a self-publishing arm when they started to realize that they were losing market share to self-publishers. Now here's why they're better than any other publishing option in my opinion. All of the book sales through Ingram Spark count toward New York Times bestseller status. CreateSpace doesn't. And when you use Ingram Spark, your books will be available on every single online bookstore format out there, not just Amazon.com, like when you use CreateSpace. And frankly, it's just as easy as using CreateSpace, so you might as well use Ingram Spark. The cost is comparable, and the book sales are handled directly through Ingram, so you never have to worry about inventory. Your third option is traditional publishing. Probably not an option unless you have a platform of over 100,000 subscribers on your social media networks or mailing lists. Even then, in order to cut a deal with the traditional publisher, you most likely need a literary agent. They're kind of like a real estate agent, but for books. They will shop you to publishers, and their job is to negotiate the highest possible advance that you can get paid by the publisher, because they will take a cut of that. If you go this route, you can expect to get about $1 per book in royalties. You also lose the ownership of your book. They can add chapters you didn't write, they can delete some of your favorite chapters, and they can even change the name of your book, and you have no say in the matter. You also are subject to buyback clauses, which basically means that if the books don't sell in bookstores, the bookstores can force the publisher to buy them back from the stores, and in turn they come to you and demand their royalties or their advance back that they've already paid you. So all of a sudden, you could get an invoice in the mail for thousands of dollars in refunds. Your fourth option is hybrid publishing. It's the best of both worlds, from self-publishing and traditional publishing. You own the IP for the book, and you get to determine what goes in it. But you also have distribution like a traditional publisher. So if you want to see your book in bookstores, this is probably the only feasible option. If you self-publish through Ingram Spark, or any of the other on-demand printers, you won't be in brick-and-mortar bookstores. The only hybrid publisher that we formally endorse at KPI is Morgan James Publishing. They have a national distribution channel, and all you have to pay when you want a copy of the book is cost plus $2. So if the cost of the book to print is $1.79, you would pay $3.79. The other benefit is that there's no buyback option like with traditional publishing. Now, to protect themselves, which is fair, by the way, they have you pay this +2 up front for the first 2,500 books. This means you cut a check to Morgan James for $5,000, but they don't charge you to publish the book. And this includes book cover design and high-level edits. Then when you order your books, using the previous example, for example, you only have to pay the $1.79 per book because you already paid the $2 up front per book for the first 2,500 books. After you've purchased 2,500 books, of course, then your cost would go back up to, hypothetically, $3.79 per book. What does all this mean? If you want your book in bookstores, it will cost you $5,000. But remember, you also get a royalty for every book that is sold in bookstores, so if you have a book that becomes a hit, you're going to get a nice royalty check 4 times a year. All right, pick which option you want to do, because you really can't proceed any further until you've made that decision. It will determine how you proceed from here. If you need help, call our office. We can mentor you in this process. Your book is nearly done. The only thing you have left to do is determine what type of service lines you'll have in addition to the book. You want to incorporate them into the book now to make sure that they are in print. For example, when they read your book, do you want to include any additional worksheets, digital calculators, checklists, fill in the blanks, bonus interviews, or videos? All of these are examples of additional service lines. Remember, the purpose of your book is to have the reader at some point put the book down and reach out to you to contact you for the purpose of doing business with you. Make that easy for them. These service lines that you put inside the book should be for the purpose of adding additional value to the book, not withholding information from the book to get them to go to your website. If you do that, you'll most likely upset your reader and they'll give you bad reviews on Amazon, saying that the book is just a promotional tool for your business. You do not want that. You want the additional bonuses to be just that, bonuses, not required reading or viewing in order for the book to make more sense. And remember, these gifts should be just that, gifts. Don't hide them behind squeeze pages so they have to give you their contact information in order for them to receive them. They're going to feel manipulated if you do. At least they will in the beginning. As you continue to build up trust in the book, the closer you are to the end of the book, the more you can get away with asking them for reasons to reach out to you, and that's okay. All right, keep at this. You are almost done. Next week, we're going to address how to market your book for maximum impact.